So 4.3 day 2, equations of perpendicular lines. So perpendicular lines, does anyone know what perpendicular lines look like? We knew what parallel lines looked like, Aiden. They cross, yeah. They cross specifically at right angles is what happens. They make like a nice little T shape or a plus shape, kind of like this right here. So perpendicular lines are two lines that intersect to form right angles, or two lines that intersect to form right angles are perpendicular lines. So these lines over here on the right are perpendicular. This line is perpendicular to this line. Okay. Now, when you had parallel lines, they had the same slope. Do you guys remember that from yesterday? Perpendicular lines, they cannot have the same slope, because if they had the same slope, wouldn't they be parallel? Right? There has to be something a little different. With perpendicular lines, what ends up happening is perpendicular lines have what we call opposite reciprocal slopes. Opposite reciprocal slopes. Now, opposite means, when I say opposite, I mean opposite sign. When I say opposite, I mean opposite sign. Like if one's positive, the other would be negative. And reciprocal, remember when we did keep, change, flip? Reciprocal is something that is just flipped. So reciprocal means flipped. So if you look at this picture here, the slope of this line is 3, right? The slope of this line is negative 1/3. Those are examples of opposite reciprocals. Isn't one of them negative? Isn't one of them positive? Yes. And then the reciprocal part means they're flipped around. So if you take 3, we've kind of talked about this. Doesn't 3 just mean the same thing as 3 over 1? Yeah. If you took 3 over 1 and flipped it, wouldn't it become 1 over 3? Yeah. So those are like flipped around. Okay, that's how that works. So what we're going to practice doing is just identifying opposite reciprocals first, because that's a really important part of this. Yeah, so determine which numbers, if any, are opposite reciprocals. So you have to have the opposite signs, and then one needs to be the flipped around version of the other. So if you take a look here, if we just look at 3 and negative 3, those are opposites, but are they reciprocals? No. What about 3 and 1/3? Those are reciprocals, right? One's flipped, but are they opposites? No. Is there anything here that would be opposite and a reciprocal? Nothing else? There's no other two? Alex? Yeah. If you look at this one here, see how we have the 1/3, right? If you flip over 1/3, it's going to be 3, right? And what's the opposite of positive 3? Negative 3. So in this situation, wouldn't negative 3 and 1/3 be opposite reciprocals? Because isn't one negative? Isn't one positive? And then if you take 3 and you flip it over, won't it be 1/3? Yeah. All right, take a look at number 2. Yeah, exactly. 2/7 and negative 7 over 2. Is one negative? Is one positive? Okay, so there's the opposite part. And if you take 2 over 7 and you flip it, what's it going to become? 7 over 2. And is that what we have? Yeah. And then look at number 3. We have 7, 1/7, and negative 7. Which ones? -7 with which other one? Exactly, -7 and 1/7. Is one negative? Is one positive? If you flip 1/7 over, won't it just become 7? Or 7/1, which is the same thing? Yeah. Okay, and we'll get lots of practice identifying those, don't worry. All right, so now this first part is really similar to what we did yesterday when we counted out the slopes to see which ones would be opposite reciprocals. So we're going to do that same thing again. We're going to try out one together, and then you're going to try out number 2 on your own. So for number 1, all right, we're going to look at line, we'll go, I guess, in alphabetical order first. So this is the blue line here, line A, the one on the bottom, okay? So let's look at line A. Remember, we're going to count this out. We're down here on line A. So when you count out your slope, do your rise over your run. So from my first point here, do I need to count up or down to go to the other blue line? If I'm here, I'm on the blue line, A. We're going from here to here. Oh, I just was circling the A to show you what line we were on. Here, I'll do this. We're on this line. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're gonna go down 1, and then, so that'd be -1 on top, and then over 1, 2, 3. So your slope here would be -1/3. People at home, can you still see my my screen? On my other computer, it shows that I lost connection. Okay, cool. All right, so then let's look at line B. That's the red line. So we're on this one right now. Yep. Okay, so we're going to go down 1. So this is for line B. We're going to go down 1, which is -1 over 1, 2, 3. Good. And then let's look at the green line. That's line C. From this one, from 0, 0, should I count up or down? Up. Up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a +5 on top over 1, 2. So we have 5 over 2. So now in your directions, you're asked which lines, if any, are parallel or perpendicular. Do we see any parallel lines here? Yeah, what do we need for lines to be parallel? Same slope. Do you guys see 2 lines here with the same slope? Yeah, which 2? A and B. So we're going to say line A and B are parallel. Do you guys see any that are perpendicular? Do we see any opposite reciprocals? No. No, this 5 over 2, does that really do anything for us? Is that a reciprocal? No. So we're just going to say line A and B are parallel. There's actually nothing here that'll be perpendicular. Okay. I lied. We're actually going to do number 2 together. Why? Because I don't know. I want to. Do you guys want to do it on your own? No. All right. You can try it on your own. Don't pay attention to me. Then just check it at the end. All right. So let's look at line A together. That's the blue line. So on this blue line here, we're going to start at this dot down here that is -5, 4. To get to my other blue dot, should I count up or down? Up. Up 1, 2, 3. So that's a +3. And then right or left? Right. Yeah, right. 1, 2. So this has a slope of 3 over 2. All right, now let's look at the blue, the red line, line B. We're gonna start over here on the left with -6, -4. Should I count up or down? To get from on the red line, Asia. So from -6, -4 down to down here. Should I go up or down? The red one? Here, line B. Yeah, we're going down. Down 1, 2, so that'd be -2 over 1, 2, 3, 4. Are we following along with this, guys? Okay. Can you reduce -1 over or -2 over 4? Yeah, by what? By 2. -2 divided by 2 is -1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So this one has a slope of -1/2. And then line C. That's the green line. So we're looking at the green one. So from this one, we're down here, and then we're heading up, right? Shouldn't we have a positive slope? Isn't that line sloping up? So should I count up or down? Up. Up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for line C, that's going to be 5 over, and then over 1, 2, 3. Okay, do we see any parallel lines here? Anybody have the same slope? No. Do we see any opposite reciprocals? Nope. So is there really anything that we need in this one? No. We're just gonna say none. All right, let's go look at number 3. These ones are the ones where you're given an equation. So let's first identify what my slopes even are, and then decide if any of them are the same or opposite reciprocals. So look at line A. What is the slope of line A? What number? 4. Annalise, what's the slope of line B? -1/4. And so if you want, you can kind of write them off to the side if you think that would help you. So this is equals 4. This one is -1/4. No, you don't have to with this one. And then what's the slope of line C? Yep. Slope of line C is -4. Good. Okay, do we see any numbers that are the exact same? Yes. Which two are the exact same? 4. Those are the exact same? 4 and -4? Yeah, none of them are the exact same. So will we have any parallel lines? No. No. Are any of them opposite reciprocals? Yes. Which two? Yeah, the +4. Good. The +4 and the -1/4, because there's one positive and one negative. Yeah, so there's the opposite part. And then is the reciprocal of 4 1/4? If you flip it around? Yes, so it's the opposite and the reciprocal. Very good. So we would say that line A and B are perpendicular. Could be. Actually, no, because 2 of them would have to be, like, if you could have 2 lines that are perpendicular to the same line, but they would have to then be parallel to themselves. That's some geometry properties you got yourself into there, Jaden. All right, I want you guys to try out number 4. Or no, here, I'll show you how to write it. All right, number 4. All right. Olivia, what's the slope of line A in number 4? -1/2. Okay. Bailey, what's the slope of line B? Is it negative 1/2 or 10? So the slope always is connected to the x. It's always that first thing, your m term. Yeah, that's why I'm trying to help you do that. So with this, it's y equals negative 1/2 x plus 10. So which value do you think, if it has to go with the x value, which one would be the slope? I think you might be looking at the wrong number, hon. We're on number 4. I don't see a negative 5/4. No, we're on number 4. They're completely different problems. Yeah. Okay. It'd be negative 1/2. And then for line C, Lynn, what's your slope for line C? Yep, just the 2 part. You don't need the x. Yeah. So just the 2 part. Okay, good. So now let's look at these. First, let's look and see, are any of these parallel? Which 2 would be parallel? A and B. Why are they parallel? Yes, they have the exact same slopes. Good. So we're going to say that A and B are parallel. Okay. But are there also some that are perpendicular? Alex? Yeah. If you take a look, isn't B gonna, a lot of people notice that B and C were perpendicular. I think because they're right next to each other. Aren't they opposites? Aren't they reciprocals? But wait, wouldn't A then also have to be perpendicular to it, because isn't A the same as B? Yeah. So what we're going to say here is that A and B are perpendicular to C. That would be the best way to state that. Or you can do it as 2 separate ones. You can say A and C are perpendicular, and then B and C are perpendicular, whichever you prefer. It's just a way to say it all at once. All right, let's look at number 5. This time, I'm giving you points. If I'm giving you points, can you calculate your slope? Yes, we're going to use the slope formula with these. We practiced these yesterday too. So let me color code this a little bit for us here. Let's look at line A, which is the points -2, 1, and 0, 3. So let's find that slope. So line A. So let's actually before we even do that, let's write our slope formula down. We don't want to forget that, right? So remember, slope formula is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that's the formula we're using here. So look at A. I have the points -2, 1, and 0, 3. What would I do for subtracting my y's on the top? Jaden? 3 minus 1. 3 minus 1 on top. Somebody else, what about on the bottom then? Annalise? 0 minus a, -2. Double negatives are going to have to switch to be positives. Ladies and gentlemen, what's 3 minus 1? 2. What's 0 plus 2? What's 2 over 2? 1. Good. People at home, how are we doing? Okay. Dallas, you didn't sound very confident with that. All right. All right, let's move on to line B. All right, line B is here. It is 4, 1 and 6, 4. 4, 1 and 6, 4. Okay, so if I have 4, 1, here, let me actually, because this is a little cluttered here. There, I'll erase that one. All right, 4, 1 and 6, 4. Aaron, what would I need to do for the y part of my slope? What should I subtract? Welcome back, Aaron. What should I subtract for the y part if I want to? I'm finding the slope of b. What should I do on top? Very good. Okay, you're here still. I'm pleased. All right, 4 minus 1. You sounded like you fell out of your chair there for a second. All right, 4 minus 1, and then Jesse, what about for the x's? You there, Jesse? I know. Nick, what about you? What would I do for subtracting the x's? Oh, okay. So I'll come back to you in a second, Nick. Dallas, what would I do for subtracting the x's? 6 minus 4. Okay. So now 4 minus 1 is 3. 6 minus 4 is 2. So we got 6 or 3 over 2. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you do have to go. We almost forgot. They're gonna be like, where is he? I bet you they're gonna call me any second. Probably. Yeah, absolutely. I'll write you a pass during class on Monday. You're welcome. All right, so now let's look at line C. All right, guys, line C, we're looking at 1, 3, and 4, 1. We're gonna find the slope. So Nick Lopez, back to you. What should I do about subtracting my y's to find my slope? How should I start? Good, so what numbers should I pick for that? Yeah, 1 and 3. All right, so we are gonna do 1 minus 3 on the top, over, and then Mason B, what about for the x's on the bottom? Yep, 4 minus 1. Okay, good. 1 minus 3 is -2. 4 minus 1 is 3. All right. Now take a look. Are any of these parallel? No. Are any of them opposite reciprocals? Which ones, Aiden? B and C, how can you tell? Yeah, one's negative, one's positive, and they are flipped around. Very good. So we're going to say B and C are perpendicular. Very good. Good. All right. I want you guys to try out number 6. Oh yeah, what's up, Dallas? Uh-huh. So yeah, so in order for them to be perpendicular, Dallas, one has to be negative and one has to be positive. Yeah, that's required. And then they have to be flipped around. So like if one of them is 3 over 2, the other has to be 2 over 3. Or if one is 5, the other one has to be 1 over 5. Does that help a little? Okay. All right. Try out number 6, guys. Phones away, please. Pay attention. Let's look at line A. So for line A, we're looking at the points 2, 10, and 4, 13. Brooklyn, help me find the slope of A. 13 minus 10, and then what about on the bottom? 4 minus 2, good. That should have given you 3 over 2. 3 over 2. Line B, Corey, help me out with line B. We got 4, 9 and 6, 12. Okay, 9 minus 12 on top. And if I do it in that order, what do I need to make sure I do it on the bottom as? Good, 4 minus 6. Now I know you guys, some of you might have done it the opposite way, but at the end, does it matter as long as you keep it consistent? No. So if you did 12 minus 9 over 6 minus 4, you should get the same thing. So this, in this case, with the order we just did it in, that would give you negative 3 over negative 2. But what's a negative over a negative? A positive. Okay, so you should end up with 3 over 2 regardless. Good. And then line C. Jake Sanders, what about for line C? All right, 9 minus 10 on top. What about on the bottom? 4 minus 2, that'll give you negative 1 over 2. Anybody parallel here? Yeah, A and B are parallel. Good. So let's say that A and B are parallel. Anybody perpendicular? Any opposite reciprocals? No, this is it. A and B end up being parallel. Good. Questions? Okay, we're not going to take a full 5 minutes. We're going to take a 3-minute break just because we have some more stuff to get through. Okay, so at 9:15. 9:15. So if you need to grab a quick drink of water or whatever, so people at home, 9:15. We're going to keep going. Don't fall asleep. They might. First positive case of the day today, people. Just got an email. Yep. They've talked about doing like a 2-week reset, but I don't know. I think it wouldn't be a bad idea. I personally think that they're probably waiting because there's so many sports teams going to like sectionals and states this weekend. Mm-hmm. They would have called you if it was an issue. What do you guys play? Oh, okay. But my guess is that he got quarantined because he was in close contact with someone else. Do you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, we're talking about you, Dallas. I forgot you were here. Jake was like, I hope that Dallas got quarantined this morning. He was worried about the open gym yesterday, but I told him that you were probably just quarantined because you were in close contact with someone else. Yeah. That's what I figured. Yeah, they only do they do like 1 degree of separation. So like if let's say I got sick, right? And like you were sitting next to me for a long time, you would get quarantined, but that doesn't mean like Annalise would get quarantined if she had spent like the whole class over there. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people. Well, yeah, 16 people were in close contact with that person. You weren't one of them. Congrats. It obviously wasn't enough to make it be there. You have to get quarantined. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, but if your brother had then started showing symptoms, then you would get quarantined. Yeah.
But what if somebody that like you sit with them at
Then you should get quarantined. If someone gets if someone tests positive, they're supposed to contact trace for all the people who would be like near them for that long. I don't know what to tell you then. Mhm. Mhm. Oh yeah, so no one got like contact traced. Yeah. Yeah. It happens. All right. We are on the back. People at home, we're back. We're going on to our notes. All right. On the back, next page, phones away, guys, earbuds out, etc. People at home, are we back? Are we awake? Are we paying attention? That is Aaron. It's always Aaron. All right. So, writing equations of perpendicular lines. This is very similar to what we did yesterday. First, we are going to find the slope of the perpendicular line. Remember, perpendicular lines have opposite, reciprocal slopes. Then you are going to plug the slope and the point, one of the points I give you, into the point slope formula. And then you're going to simplify and get it back into slope intercept. So that's the exact same thing we did yesterday, except now instead of using the same slope, we need to use the opposite reciprocal slope. So, here, I'll give you guys a second. I know some people are still coughing. So example 3 says write an equation of the line that passes through the given point and is perpendicular to the given line. So again, perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. So when we did this yesterday, we would take a look at our equation and we wanted to use the same slope. Now we're going to look at our equation and figure out what the opposite reciprocal slope would be. So if you look at number 1, we have a point. Hold on. Okay, we have a point. Our point x1 is -3 and y1 is 1. Now, what is the slope of the line that it gives you? What number is the slope right now? 1/2. Okay, so the slope right now is 1/2. But if we're writing the equation of a perpendicular line, do we want to use 1/2? No, that would be if we were doing a parallel line, right? We need to figure out our opposite reciprocal slope. So we're going to write it off to the side. So I'm going to put opposite reciprocal, okay, just so we know what we're writing down. Opposite reciprocal. Well, isn't 1/2 positive? What's the opposite of a positive? A negative. And how would you flip 1/2 around? Olivia? 2/1. And can you use 2/1? Yes, and how else could you rewrite that if you wanted to? Just as a 2. Either way, okay? So 2/1 or just -2. So here is our new slope that we're going to use. Here is our slope. Here is our point. And we are going to plug those into point slope. So remember, your point slope is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So we're going to do y minus 1. What's our y1? Or I'm sorry, y minus y1. What is our y1? 1. So y minus 1 equals m. What's our new m that we're using? Negative 2 times x minus x1, which is negative 3. Good. What should we do with our double negative? Change it to a positive. Good. And then what is our next step in this? Olivia? Very good. We are going to distribute the negative 2. So we have y minus 1 equals, negative 2x. And then negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Good. And then what's our final step? What now needs to move over? Okay, we need to move over the negative 1. How would you move it over? We're going to add it. Yeah, exactly. We're now going to add over our 1. So that'll give us y equals negative 2x. And what is negative 6 plus 1? Negative 5. Exactly. No, it's almost the exact same thing as what we did yesterday. You just got to figure out your, what happens with your slope first. That's the only difference. Good. You were right the first time. All right, so let's look at number 2 then. Here's our x1, here's our y1. Now, right now, what is the slope of the line it gives you? Jake? Right now, it's negative 3. Okay, good. So right now, it is negative 3. But do we want it to stay negative 3? No, because we want to do the opposite reciprocal. So we got to figure out what our opposite reciprocal slope would be. What's the opposite of a negative? A positive. And what would you get if you flipped 3 around? We got to flip it around though. So it wouldn't be, it needs to become a fraction. A positive 1/3, right? Because isn't 3 the same thing as, I just couldn't hear you, Lynn. Is a positive 3 the same thing as 3 over 1? So if you switch it around, it would be 1 over 3. Right? If you had a 5, it would be negative 1/5. If you had a 7, it'd be negative 1/7. All right, so now we are going to take our point and our slope and plug it into point slope. So remember, that's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. All right, so Hannah, help me plug in my information here. How should I start this? Good. So y minus 5 equals, and then what would I plug in for m, Hannah? 1/3, good, times x minus, and then what about for x1? Negative 3, good. Good. Let's see. Dallas, what should I do with my double negative? Make it a positive, good. And now, Lynn, what should I do with my 1/3? Yep, we're gonna drop down my y minus 5 and then distribute the 1/3. So 1/3 times x is just what? 1/3 x. And now you have 1/3 times 3. Remember, that's like taking, when you do that, isn't that like dividing? So what's 3 divided by 3? 1. Remember, if these fraction ones confuse you, you can always throw a 1 under the 3. And what's 1 times 3? 3. What's 3 times 1? 3. So then when you have 3 over 3, which is just 1. You can always do it off to the side if you need to. So that would be 1. Brooklyn, what's my next step? Well, so the 1's already on the correct side. What, the 5, yes, the 5. We gotta add over the 5 now. So that's gonna give us y equals, Oh yeah, I thought you said wait. Yeah, y equals 1/3 x plus 6, good. Good. I think we have time for probably at least one more. All right. How are we feeling about this though, guys? Very similar to yesterday. You'll probably need to catch up on yesterday before this makes more sense, Alex. All right. And then, so let's look at, yeah, we'll go to 3. That'll be another fraction one, which is good to see. All right, so for number 3, we have our x1, y1, and then, Alex, right now, what is the slope of the equation I give you? Yeah, well, -2. See the little negative in front of it? Yeah, so right now, it's -2. But if we want to write the equation of a perpendicular line, we don't want it to be the same. We want it to be the opposite reciprocal, right? So it's the opposite of a negative? A positive. And then how would we flip around 2? How would we make 2 a reciprocal? 1/2, exactly. So our new slope, our opposite reciprocal slope, would be positive 1/2, because the opposite of a negative is a positive. And if you flip 2 around, it becomes 1/2. Does that part make sense, Alex? Yeah, okay. So now we're going to take our point and our slope and plug it into the point slope formula, which I think you weren't here when we did that on Tuesday, so it's probably a little confusing. So that formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So what we do for something like this, Alex, is we take our y1 value, which is just this y in the point, right? And it's going to go in here. Take your slope, put it in for m, and then take your x1 value and put it in for 8, or for x1, okay? So let's plug that in. That's going to be Nick Lopez. Help me out with that. What should I do? Y minus what? What's my y1 value? You there, Nick? Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry, what was that? The y, that would be your x1. Which one would be your y1? 1, yeah. So y minus 1 equals, and then Nick, what should I plug in for my slope? What was our new, well, so we found our new slope, which ended up being what? What was the opposite reciprocal slope? Yeah, 1/2. Okay, and then we're gonna have x minus x1, and then Nick, what's my x1 value? 8. Good. All right. Now, Mason B, what would we do next? Good. So what should I write down when I distribute? Good. Good. Yeah, you're going to do your 1/2 times x, which would be 1/2 x, and 1/2 times -8, which would be 4. Good, because half of 8 is 4. So the half one should be okay. All right, very good. And then, Aaron, what's my very last step? I don't know. What's going on, Aaron? Oh dear, I'm concerned. So Aaron, we're on our very last step of number 3. Oh, okay. You are gonna add 1. I think like something happens to you when you learn at home because you're so quiet in the back of the room. And now it's like you're at home and you feel safe and like, I know, I guess so. Please don't fall out of your chair. Please don't injure yourself on my watch. So we have y equals 1/2 x minus 3. We had a few more, but they're all basically the same. Do we get the idea, guys? Okay. It's really the same thing that we did yesterday. Just find the opposite reciprocal. On Monday,